Hey guys, welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. It's Iamsteamin here, and we're going to do a champion guide on probably my favourite rare champion at the moment. This is the Frozen Banshee. So anyone that took the gold pass out of the battle pass will definitely have her. She's the first reward you get. She was good before. I always thought she had the good kit, but her A3 wasn't usable until they just buffed her in the recent patch, and she's now insane. Like top tier poisoner in Clan Boss. We'll go through the guide and then I'll show you what I'm doing in Clan Boss with her, but let's quickly go through our skill sets before we go any further. So our A1 attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has an 80% but 100% when booked of placing a 5%, the large poison debuff, if the target is under poison sensitivity. Now, poison sensitivity is a new debuff. It means that the target will take more damage over time, well, more damage every tick from poison. So the 25% is the poison sensitivity that's on this girl. It's on her A3, but I'll explain that in a minute. So this is a fantastic ability. It has to trigger obviously when it's got the poison sensitivity on, but seriously overpowered ability for a rare. The fact that it's on an A1, it's going to hit on a counter attack as well. This makes her insane. So, but her whole kit's really good, to be honest. This A2 I kind of overlooked, to be honest. I was so concentrated on her A3 and A1, but this really helps with the sort of speed comp for Clan Boss, because you're basically always going to have 10 debuffs up on the target. So you're looking at 20% turn meter fill along with a decent enough hit. And you know, once you've got War Master on her, you'll get a decent hit, a proc off War Master, and you'll fill by 20% the turn meters, which is really good. And this hits fairly hard as well. Her A3 now is what's made her so powerful. It's also, these are both, obviously that's a 3-turn cooldown. This is now a 3-turn cooldown as well when booked. You have to book her really to get the most out of her. In fact, you have to book her to use her really, but she's a rare, so she's not too hard to book. But this one attacks one enemy. Again, you're doing damage with it, which is fantastic. It's not just placing it, and just places straight up a 25% poison sensitivity debuff for 2 turns. Okay, so this is where it gets silly, because beforehand she had to have a certain amount of debuffs to increase the likelihood of her putting this on. But this is 100%. There's no percentages. It's just 100%. You will put the debuff on if you have the accuracy, obviously. So absolutely fantastic. And then she's also got an increased ally accuracy in all battles by 35, which is not to be grumbled at. I'm not specifically using her, but if you're struggling to get that accuracy to put those debuffs on, debuffs for dungeons and Clan Boss is the main thing you need. So I would probably prioritize accuracy over everything else if you can't get it. If you can get the accuracy through Great Hall and gear, which you should really be able to do, banners and whatnot, you're better putting a speed or defense aura on, but this is still useful. So all in all, her kit for a rare is insanely good. So we'll go and have a wee look at the artifacts I've stuck on her just now. So I'm currently running her in 2 speed sets. This is a divine speed set and accuracy. Ideally, once I get my Great Hall, I've got my Great Hall pretty high. I think it's like level 8, but I'll get another 20 accuracy from getting to max level Great Hall, and then I can probably take out this accuracy set and put in more speed. But at the moment, she's not too bad. Not the worst. She's running at 205 speed, which is okay. I'd like to get it quite a bit higher for Nightmare. 228 accuracy. You really need like over 220 accuracy for Ultra Nightmare, which is what we're doing with this build. We do Nightmare really easy with this team, but I'm really wanting to try and get a 2 or 3 key with Ultra Nightmare with this rare, which is definitely possible. But I'm running at 3.1k defense. Again, could be better, but it's not bad stats at all. Not bad for what kind of gear I've got at this point in the game. I'm not even level 60 yet, so I've got half decent gear, but not the best. Obviously running speed boots. Again, didn't get the best rolls with this, but it's just what I'm using. Defense chest, defense gloves, and then obviously these are all set items, but you're really looking for speed and accuracy. Don't worry about attack, crit damage, crit rate. None of that's useful. You're just wanting to lay poisons with this girl, as much poison as possible. So defense, HP comes as your secondary sort of ability. Speed and accuracy is your other 2. Don't worry about resist. It's not really useful because you'll spend too much time trying to get it on. You're better using block debuffs from your other champions, which we'll show later. Again, I only got a 4-star accuracy banner, which is really frustrating. I keep getting the wrong kind of banners for her, so once I get a 5 or 6-star accuracy banner, that's going to also free up loads of space for my shield and weapon here. So definitely another speed set or something along those lines. But yeah, so loads of room for improvement, but it just shows you I can easily Ultra Nightmare with this build right now, and she's nowhere near maxed out in terms of gear. On our Masteries here, I will quickly go through what Masteries I've gone over. So obviously with Clan Boss, I'd usually just do this with these kind of champions straight down to the bottom for War Master. This is really handy as well, methodical, does a bit more damage over time. Also this one as well, inflicts more damage on higher HP enemies, which is good. And aside from that, I've really gone straight down the support tree, and I would always continue down support tree, even if you can max out accuracy from other sources. You really want to get to Master Hexer. This is a kind of game changer, because this will lay your poison sensitivity for 3 turns rather than 2, which makes it far more powerful, and also your poisons. Quite often, if I'm using a counter attacker, I'll have my poison sensitivity on, it'll land for 3, and then when the counter attack hits him, when the clan boss hits me, she'll return counter attack with 2 hits, obviously lay 2 poisons, and both of them land for 3s, which is a crazy turn. It's really powerful. Also sniper as well, really handy. You want more chance of landing these debuffs. Nah, mind you, they're 100% anyway, so it's not much use, but I had that on before when I didn't have her booked up. I use Lore of Steel to get more out of my gear, and just general stuff like accuracy just now. If you did have maxed accuracy out, you could probably just go HP and move down these sort of routes to get to here, and then always end up at Master Hexer. But you want War Master for those War Master procs. Again, play about with it though, you don't have to follow this, but I think this is a pretty decent build for what you're wanting to do with the Frozen Banshee. So again, this is the kind of point where I come to rate the champions. To be honest, I'm not really going to bother, because she's basically built for Clan Boss and Clan Boss only. You could potentially use her in Dragons, I think. I haven't really used her yet, but I've got such a good Dragons team that I've kind of not really used her. Faction War, she might be useful, but most other parts of the game, she's not really any use. But as with a lot of rares, she's extremely good at one thing. I wonder what they've had for recommended artifacts. Yeah, don't listen to this. The recommended artifacts here on the default are terrible. You don't want to put her in any of this kind of gear, really. You don't need offense, you don't need critical rate. They've just gone off what are kind of, she's an attack based champion, but yeah, you definitely need speed. Accuracy is your main 2. She will do tons of damage if you're laying that poison sensitivity and all those poisons, especially on the counter attacks. But you need her to survive, especially at Ultra Nightmare. You really need her to survive. So ideally, I would much rather get her up to about sort of 4k defense if possible. It is definitely possible. I mean, I've got a lot of rolls in here. Here's a flat defense. If that was defense percentage, it would be much better. Both of these are 5-star. Obviously 6-star would get another 20% right there. Resistance is pretty useless, crit rate's pretty useless. Crit rate and crit damage rolls, you can see this gear is nowhere near optimized for what I need it for, but it'll do for now. But I could easily be pushing sort of 4k defense if I get a lot more decent gear in my arsenal. There's the other option of running her in lifesteal gear, which is definitely a good option, but I was just I'm trying out the kind of speed comp more than anything just now, and it seems to be working pretty well. So but if you can get a decent speed out your lifesteal gear, I would definitely go with lifesteal, because it will keep her alive longer. So let's go ahead and we'll take her into a battle just now. So I've done Ultra Nightmare, I've done my Nightmare for today, sorry. Now I didn't get a very good key this time. I was trying out Yes again, who I am liking, but I need to gear her better, and I've actually geared her better for this part of the video. So I only pulled 25 million on that key, but generally I usually run Mausoleum Mage in that spot, and I was generally getting sort of 30 to 35 million per key on Nightmare. That's usually, I would say 30 million is a good average for me. And keep in mind, my Great Hall, guys, I'm not one of these whales. My Great Hall is not massive. It's as you can see, it needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of work to defense, more accuracy, things like that. It's got very little in way of anything else. So I'm not by any means maxed out. I'm not even level 60, and it just shows you I can get really high on Clan Boss with these champions. So you can definitely do it as well if you're not that far into the game. But what we'll do is we'll jump into an Ultra Nightmare, because that's really what we're here for. The Nightmare you can easily 2 key. I think I'll get to 1 key eventually. It's just going to take a bit of mucking about. It's definitely possible to do 1 key. What I really want to do is 2 or 3 key Ultra Nightmare. The most damage I've got out of her so far in Ultra Nightmare is 22 million, which is close to a 3 key. But again, I think I just need to build up my gear and I'll definitely get there. But we'll spend 100 gems for the video, get an extra key. Nobody's done it in my clan today, so we'll be the first people to do it. I think we'll stick with this team actually. I'm quite enjoying using Yes alongside her. She's got a good debuff extender and she's definitely an underrated champion again. Gonna do a video on her next, but yeah, let's fire in. Right, I'm just going to run through quickly what this team composition does, just to give you an idea. You don't need to use these exact champions, but it gives you an idea of the things you need in Clan Boss. So Krisk is my attack down, defense down. He's also my speed lead, and he buff extends as well, so he does a hell of a lot of work. He's a very, very good champion. So he does that there, and then I use Duchess to keep everybody alive. She does a great job. So yeah, Duchess is used to keep your team alive. She's got the AoE decreased damage ability on her passive, which is fantastic for it. So, and also the block debuffs is really, really useful. But here we are with the Frozen Banshee. So right away we want to layer poison sensitivity, and then we'll put our counter attack up, land some poison with Yes, and then as you see when we counter attack, we'll get another probably 3 poisons on. There's 2, 3. Perfect, and then we just rinse and repeat over and over again, keeping the shields up, keeping the counter attacks up. If anyone does die, you get a bit of healing from Duchess, which is really good. So I'm going to let this one run through. This is Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, and we'll catch you at the end of the run and see how we did. Okay, so we did 18.35 million damage with that one. Not fantastic, but I made quite a few mistakes in that one. I had to go and the kids were running about, so usually I think I'd probably get 20 million with the Skull Crusher Yes build. When I was putting in Mausoleum Mage, I was generally getting about 20 million, but it shows you the sort of stuff you can do. So she has done 7 million damage on Ultra Nightmare with a very subpar build and not a fantastic Great Hall, so fantastic champion for Clan Boss. Really, really useful, and most of you guys will have her. Even if you didn't get her in the battle pass as such, you'll probably pull her from an Ancient Shard at some point. She's pretty easy to get. So just a quick one to note, here's a run we did later in the day on Ultra Nightmare again. So this ran up at 23.11 million damage on Ultra Nightmare, which is a fantastic run for this team. No different gear on them. The only difference was that the debuffs did not get resisted as much. They've both got over 230 accuracy, I believe, so they should be pretty much hitting all the time. But I got quite unlucky in that last video, and quite a few got resisted and the kind of turn meters got screwed up. So realistically, you're going to hit about 20-21 million with this team, but this was a really good run, but shows you what can be done with it. But if you were to run this champion with a decent Great Hall, better than mine anyway, and decent gear and spec her right, it shows you that you can easily be doing 3 key runs on Ultra Nightmare with this champion, and definitely 1 or 2 key runs on Nightmare. So fantastic rare champion. Hope you really enjoyed this, guys. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me because I put a lot of time and effort and resources into these champions to build them for you guys. I'm fairly I'm not a whale, I don't have a lot of money, so it's really handy if I'm getting more subscribers and things like that to help me push the content out. And make sure you follow me on Twitch as well. We spend a lot of time on Twitch these days, get a good number of people watching there, so it's good fun. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and peace, have a good one.